All right, and we are live on Propel. Hello, and thank y'all so much for being here today. I am Stephanie Morrow, founder at Transformation Living Systems. And if you know anything about us at Transformation Living Systems, you know that our marquee event, Making History in Hills, is just days away. Sunday, March 28th, we'll be celebrating 6 unstoppable women here in Dallas. And this afternoon on Propel, we're going to be talking to one of the honorees, Dr. Monique Thompson, is here with us. And so we'll be chatting with her in just a little bit. But just a little bit about Transformation Living Systems and a little bit about Propel. The goal at Transformation Living Systems is really focused on building women from the inside out. I often talk about how when women delve into, these entrepreneurial journeys or spaces, there's so much thought given to the outer, to the exterior, to what the brand is going to look like, the colors, the logos, the websites. And those things are important. Believe me, they are absolutely important. But more important than those things, I think, is really the foundation and the basis from which all of that work really moves and comes from. And that's who we are internally. And that is just it's the template, it's the framework, it's the guide for everything that happens outwardly. And so at Transformation Living Systems, we are really focused and committed on building that woman from the inside out. And as I said, our marquee event, Making History in Hills, is coming up. This is year 4. And the movement started a few years ago. I felt inspired to create a platform to celebrate the accomplishments and achievements of local women. We are in such a celebrity crazed society, and everyone wants to be connected with, this celebrity or this person or that person. And, I just always felt like that we had incredible women right here in our backyard that were doing amazing things, making huge impacts in their respective areas. And the world may not know their name. Oprah might not know who they are, but they are still worthy. They are still valuable. They are still influential. And so I wanted to create this local platform to really just kind of find who those women are and bring them to the forefront and really bring them to the light. And a couple of years ago, we opened up the event and we started receiving nominations, and we had people that are part of the work or people that have been honored in times past to nominate these incredible women. And it's been such an honor because I have been able to cross paths with women that I probably would have never known or seen or connected with. And it's really crazy because some of the women that are honored and nominated from different places know each other, and then they start to connect and build. And that really was my dream and my vision for this network, just creating this network of high achieving women looking to connect and to empower and to serve each other in that way. And so today with us, we have Dr. Monique Thompson, who is just a powerhouse. She's doing a little bit of everything. Dr. Monique is a mental health professional. She's a founder of a 501c3 called Whatsoever is Good Inc., which is where she facilitates the work at the Zero Debt College Project. She is a best-selling author. She is a school board member. She is a mom, and she is wearing many hats. And so I'm so excited to have an opportunity to honor her this year and to have her here on Propel. So thank you, Dr. Monique. How are you
Yes,
doing?
I'm so glad to be here. I mean, I'm just in awe of everything that you just listed, and that you somehow found a way to fill a gap, a need in the community for local women to be recognized for kind of the hometown heroes. So I appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah, it's been a real labor, a labor of love. It's not easy, and it's a small team, in many instances, I'm a team of one. But it's my happy place. It's so crazy. Sometimes my husband's saying, I got stuff all over the office. I'm so excited about Sunday. It's like Christmas. It's like a holiday. He's like, you're doing all this, but all this work and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's part of it's a value of mine, and learning, really celebrating other people. And I hadn't really called it that. I didn't really know it was that. And I was having a conversation with someone actually, I think it was on Propel, on the first season of Propel. And she said, being able to celebrate other women like that, that's part of a value system, and everyone doesn't have that. And so I'm just thankful for it. And, it's like a baby. It changes and grows, and there are many iterations of it. And year 5 will probably look different than year 4. But I'm just excited and really feel honored to serve in this way, because it is an act of service. So talk to us a little bit about what it means to be unstoppable.
Wow. Well, I remember getting that question and thinking, well, what does that mean, unstoppable? And along the journey, the many journeys I've been on to accomplish things, right in the middle of all of them, I realize this is not entirely a faith-based experience that everyone has, but for me, it has been a continual faith-based experience.
Mm-hmm.
And for all the major movements in my life, there was a point where I stopped. I sat down, I had journals, I had books and my Bible, and I just stopped to hear, to literally get as quiet as I could and hear. And each of these major pivots in my life where I stopped to hear, I was able to get from one place to the next successfully. And that's what I consider unstoppable to mean, is that there were plenty of obstacles, plenty. But each time that I stopped, paused to listen and hear, I jokingly tell my husband, like, sometimes I feel invincible, because if I can hear God and I can understand him, exactly what, exactly who, what, where, when, and how is anything going to outsmart him, surprise him, and as long as I can hear him, then how, and I'm willing to do what he's telling me, how could this go wrong? Well, I mean, I try to stay spiritually transparent with my clients that I work with. I've been in practice for 20 years, and I respect all walks of faith, including people who have no faith, or people who have the opposite of faith. And I jokingly tell everybody all the time, I have seen everybody, but I really mean I've seen everybody. But even when I'm seeing someone whose faith is opposite or who has no faith, and by that I mean people who worship things or entities and all of the above. I mean, I'm saying I have seen everybody. I'm still communicating upward. And I'm still listening. And that has allowed me to do amazing things as an artist and as a scientist in my field of mental health counseling. Amazing things. My specialties would rock somebody else's world. And indeed, they rock my human world. But we're talking 20 years and I haven't lost anybody.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's incredible.
And my specialties are adult survivors of sexual trauma, couples recovery from affairs. I treat bipolar disorder, people who have bipolar 1 with psychotic features. Revolving time with the hospital. I haven't lost anybody in 20 years. But coming into this field, there was that pause. The summer before I came into the field, I paused. I was in the management training program. I was supposed to leave and go live a year in Manhattan in the management training program in corporate housing, getting paid, and I just was like, I need to talk to God about this. So every day on my lunch break, I would sit down with my notebooks and I took that pause. And then at the very end, I had written all the pros and cons. I had called people I did not know, because I didn't know anybody who had done what I was wanting to do. I didn't know any Black female counselors. I certainly didn't know any Black female Christian counselors. I didn't have anybody in my family who was actually licensed to be a professional counselor. I didn't know anybody personally. So I went through the yellow pages. At the time, I know I'm dating myself, but y'all can see this gray hair. I went through the yellow pages and I looked up people who were doing what I wanted to do, and I called them on the phone and I asked them questions. And I wanted to know, what did you do to get to where you are? What education did you pick this school over that one? I asked them questions about how much do you make and what do you do? All these questions. And so I had all my pros and cons. But in the end, I sat down and I asked God one final question before I took the next step. And I said, well, I am not going to be okay if I'm doing all I can and the person is doing all they can and nothing's getting better. Because I understood the science of my field. I've been doing this since I was 15. And I understood the science of my field. You can't guarantee health to a person. I'm not God. I can't guarantee health. And people obviously come to counsel to get better.
Yes.
And he said, I'll be there. And I said, okay. And in the 11th hour, I turned in my graduate application for Dallas Baptist University. And there was testimony after testimony from there. When I went to register for school, there had been some hold up at my undergraduate university. I had to drive overnight to physically, personally go down there and get it straightened out, and then drive back and get it taken care of. So those human parts of it, me doing my work, every time I've had to do something to make it happen. But the hearing from him has given me the fuel to know that this is the right way to go. This is every time. And in every instance, it should probably have not worked out well, but I put my nose to the grindstone. I sat and I heard from God, and every time it worked out beautifully. I got in grad school and out of grad school. I started fall 96. I was done fall 98. Done.
Wow.
Yes. I sat down with him and said, I need a real job. I don't come from wealth. We need a real job.
Right.
But I also want to get paid and get my experience. I want good experience. I told him, I said, I really want to be the best counselor I can be. So I need you to help me with this. True story. I come home. I'm applying everywhere because people don't know in any state. And at that time, Texas, it was 2,000 hours. You needed a 2,000-hour internship to get your license.
Oh, wow.
2,000 hours. So when you guys are wondering why there aren't that many Black mental health providers, I want you to add that 2,000 hours onto a master's degree that you have to have beforehand. So first the person has to get a bachelor's. Then they have to get a master's degree. Then they have to go get a license. And it was 2,000 hours then. It is 3,000 hours now.
Oh, wow.
Right. Sitting there for three, right. So I was like, I'm going to get licensed, but I don't want to be doing this forever. And I need a full-time job where I'm going to get my hours on the job. And I need a real check. But you're coming out of grad school, most times you're entry level. You don't have any experience to speak of. I got home. I had a thank you letter in the mail from St. Paul Medical Center.
Wow.
I went upstairs to my apartment and I talked to God right there at the mailbox. I talked to him. I got upstairs and had could you please come in for an interview on my voicemail from St. Paul Medical. Wow. And I said, well, the right hand ain't talking to the left, but that ain't my problem.
Right.
So that's what I mean when I say unstoppable.
Yes.
I talk to who is really in charge.
Yeah. And I think you've cited just so many examples and opportunities that you could have had to really derail the dream, to stop. It's like grit. The word, as you were talking, grit, came to mind.
Yes.
Being able to persevere over a period of time.
Over everything. You don't stop. You don't stop. My husband jokingly says, nobody can outwork you. He's right. Nobody can outwork me, but I believe in working smart with wisdom and favor.
Yes.
Working
and
smart
alignment.
with wisdom and favor. Not just guy crazy, run up and down the street working. Yeah. Working smart with wisdom and favor. My election, I won December 11 out of 14 precincts. My first election. Right.
Wow.
Against the longest sitting school board member in our district. The longest sitting school. And every time I turn around, everybody knows that person. I was like, okay. Then I look around, all these endorsements. And I kept, y'all understand, I went to God almost every day. And I said, help me hear you. Help me be a heart you'll talk to.
Yeah.
And he would inspire me. And I would come home. I would sit down. I put that 8-year-old to bed. Put her to bed. I got a lovely husband. I call him Big Daddy Wonderfulness, the Unconquerable. He was by my side this whole way. We have a happy home. I wasn't disturbing my happy home. Y'all to read between the lines on that. And in the middle of all that, I got a book deal. Publisher reached out to me, offered me a book deal. And I talked to Big Daddy Wonderfulness. I said, what should I do? He said, take it. I'm like, I'm not going to do that in the middle of the pandemic. My 8-year-old is doing virtual schooling. I'm in the middle of this election that had got pushed back to November because of the pandemic.
Wow.
My daughter, the oldest one, had just did the only Black Lives Matter rally here in Little Elm.
Wow.
And you want me, what you say, tell them yes to write the
yes.
So I negotiated a little bit, so I'll say, can y'all do this? You negotiate. So that's what I mean by unstoppable. It's not that you take everything in and just somehow. No, I thought through things negotiated things. I asked God to make me somebody you want to bless. Keep my heart clean. Anytime somebody got on my very last nerve, and y'all understand she did the only Black Lives Matter rally here in Little M, so you know what we went through. And I went to him and I said, now, you keep my heart clean so we can talk.
Yes.
So I had to leave things with him, but ask for what I wanted. Yes. So I didn't go to God and say, well, just help me be forgiven and let things go. I said, now I'm letting this go to you, but I'm telling you what I want in return.
Yes.
It's my blessing, all my blessings. I want all my stuff.
Yes. Here. Not over there. I want it here.
Yeah, over here, right? I want to be Jacob that you love, not Esau that you hate. On the regular, that's who I need to be. And so all those frustrations, like the time crunch, and the time that you want to spend with your children, and you got to go out here door to door talking to people in this pandemic, so you really can't do regular, even election campaign that you would have normally done. Trying to figure out how do I even reach people. I just kept going to God, and He kept making things clear to me by keeping my heart where I could hear Him. Yeah. Number one. And number two, my prayer the whole time was multiplied mercy, multiplied money, and multiplied time. And I would go on my little prayer walk, and I would talk to Him, and I would let every frustration out. And I mean, sometimes I was bad word mad. I'm just gonna say it that way, bad word mad. And I would make myself
Monique,
out there, walking and running, and I would just think of people I was mad about. And I'm like, and I'm giving them to you, and what I want in return is this, and I'm giving this to you, and what I want in return, I want all my stuff. My baby got $10.5 million in merit scholarship offers. Wow. Truth. Got accepted to over 140 colleges. Truth. And what I went to him with, I want all of my stuff, and I want you to bless my generations too.
Yes.
Bless
so
my
talk to us a little bit about this, because I know you're already into your brand. You've talked about, being part of the school, elected to school board, and being a mental health professional, and the zero day project. And how do all those pieces really work in tandem to really underpin, I think, probably what your overarching purpose is?
I didn't know I had a brand. My husband told me I had a brand. He said,
wow,
you have a brand. I was like, I don't think he's like, yes, you do. And he broke it down to me. He was like, you've done. I said, well, really, the brand would be do what you want to do and do it well. Everything you want to do. I'm a certified lifeguard, a Red Cross certified lifeguard, and I teach water aerobics because I wanted to go to water aerobics, and I know me, I would never make it to a water aerobics class when it's cold outside, when it's raining outside, or when I just don't feel like going. But I'm not going to disappoint a group of students. So if I'm a water aerobics instructor, I'm going to make every class, and therefore I teach water aerobics. And because I teach water aerobics, I don't pay for water aerobics. So that aligns with everything I believe in. Multiply money, multiply mercy, multiply time.
And I have to do. So I need to start teaching. I need to start teaching.
Yes, whatever it is you need to do that you're not going to show up to as a student, because you just you have all these things pulling you here there. But you have to be honest with who you really are. Authenticity is one of my. You have to be honest with who you really are. I know I'm a person who meets my obligations. Yes. I'm not going to be late to my counseling appointments. My clients don't know anything about random cancellations. I show up, we start on time, we end on time. I teach for University of Phoenix. I've been doing that for 12 years. Literally, Tuesday morning, I got up to an email from a student from the classes that just started. And I'm like, what do people want already? Class just started at midnight. But I opened up the email because I'm going to always open it and see, what's going on. I look and she said, I just wanted to tell you thank you, because I've never had an instructor start off with this kind of warm welcome. And I'm just so excited to be in your class. And I'm like, yes, because now I didn't tell her this. I'm like, because I don't actually enjoy grading papers that are not written well. So I know that's going to frustrate me. Therefore, I send them a tutorial on the first day of class explaining this is how you get an A in this class. And here's a tutorial on your very first assignment. If you just follow these steps, you'll be fine. So I do things to help me be me. But really, my husband's cousin gave me that tip a long time ago. We were talking about anger management. And she said, I stay away from things that provoke me. And I said, I like that tip. But I took it a little step further. I said, not only can I stay away from things that provoke me, God gave me a lot of wisdom. When I was a young child, my aunt told me, ask for your spiritual gift. And I said, okay. And I thought about it. I said, I think I want my spiritual gift to be wisdom. And I asked God as a young child for wisdom. And he has been so kind and merciful with me. And I believe that we have a constant communication because he's been kind and merciful, not because I have been so diligent, but even the grit. And as far back as I can remember, I can see him doing something to help me get there.
Yeah.
And with all the, like, who I am now, what people experience from me, I can't quite take credit for having a signature line and saying, I'm going to create this brand. It became what I have, what I believe people experience, because I am 100%, I pause every time and I say, so is this what you want? My husband and I have been married now for 18 years. The night before my LPC exam, we were then dating. We were supposed to go out, it's fine, it's gonna be over the morning. I was sitting in my little apartment and I called him at the last minute and said, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I need to pause. I need to sit down. Me and God gotta have this last night. So he was already where we were supposed to be. I could hear people in the background. I said to him, I'm sorry. Okay. Hung up. I felt no guilt about it though.
Yes.
I sat on my floor. I had my praise and worship music on, and I sat down and I got prostrate and I said, God, make me what you need me to be for people. Let me be a therapist that you would be proud of. Let me do your work with this and help me with this exam in the morning. Because in Texas, you find out on the spot. It's not a wait. And I said, just let me do this and let me always honor you in this work. Always. And I went to bed. I said my prayers. I felt calm and peaceful the night before that exam. The next morning, I sat on the top step in my apartment. It was some cows across the way. And I was just looking at nature. And I said, Lord, I appreciate you, but is it anything else I need to know about this test? And the hardest thing is that what came to my mind was this equation. And I was like, okay, that's good. Let me go look back in the book. So I'm looking through the book and I'm looking at the equation. And I kind of studied a little bit. I get on the exam. And the equation was on the exam, not to do anything with it, but to identify the correct equation to use. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. And I finished that test and walked through the doors. And the lady told me I had passed. And I had my hallelujah dance on so hard because I know that pause is what's kept me going. It's been merciful, but it's like you said, the grit is in there. But what I think people experience from me now is that there's an encouragement to do not any and everything, but the things that are things that are meant for you. I'm good at what I do, but these are things that are meant for me. I can't decorate to save my life. Like your background is beautiful. I look at this, I'm like, she got all these nice pictures, gold, and she got gold on in her outfit, and the gold, everything is coordinated. I have a diploma and a license.
But here's the thing, and you're so right about being able to zero in on and clearly articulate what the one thing is, because I believe that we all came here with spiritual vocation. Like I believe that we all came divinely, life happens and it gets lost and it gets pushed down, or it's just not a high priority. But we all have it. And when you're able to articulate it, I feel like people that are clear about who they are and why they are almost have a better quality of life because they're able to do some of those things that you've talked about. Because then it's almost like that becomes, one of my mentors said that vision is the bridge between our present and our future. Vision is the bridge that connects the two. And so really without those ideas or without that vision or ideas of what it is that you want to accomplish or that thing that God has, really created you to be, you're just kind of all over the place. And I've noticed that people that have that clarity of vision, that are able to clearly articulate what that vision is. Now, here's the thing about vision. You don't have to stay how you start. So
Right.
just because you start in a space doesn't mean that that's the only space that you're
Right.
confined to.
Right.
But I feel like when you have that clarity of purpose, that it shows up in so many different areas of your life.
And
So
staying clear, like you might be clear
yeah,
and then confused,
yes,
continuing to go back for more information, for more clarity,
yeah,
like this, the Zero Debt College Project, my husband and I talked about this before we even had kids. We were talking about why do we keep not making it? Black America, we just somehow we're not
yeah,
and we were just talking it through, because of course we saw the world's problems every night. We started there we were dating, and we still saw the world's problem every night. Now our 18-year-old is in, she, we all jump in and we saw the world's problem every night. But this one, I said, I think we just keep sending our kids out like slaves. So we just keep on, after they graduate from high school, we say go to college, but they don't have a way of paying for it. So how are you immediately back like an indentured servant almost, trying to
yes,
say, I'm gonna go to college so that I can pay for college. So we were he was like,
yeah,
well, how do you get around? I said, well, my first year of college, I didn't actually have to pay anything. My parents griped about $150, but we didn't pay anything really. And I said, then I messed up, I lost my scholarship, And he was like, well, you fixed it. I'm like, well, I can't help people. How do you help somebody get a scholarship? And at this time, I'm the auntie that the nieces and nephews come to for stuff like that. So I tried with the first nephews, then the next one, then the next one.
wow,
And they ended up going to college with debt, And so finally, after that last niece, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? And at that time, my daughter was like 10 or 11 years old. And I said, we have got to figure this out, because the next time I try is going to be with her. And
yeah,
I figured this out. We're going to have this college debt, or she's going to have this college debt, or she's going to have vocational college debt, or community college debt, or beauty school debt. Because the truth was, and in my family system, it wasn't just college debt. It was people having to pay for beauty school, having to pay for barber college,
whatever.
it was just whatever they wanted
Education
to do
costs.
in school, it was becoming a debt. So when it came to her, we started a little bit at a time. And about her 9th or 10th grade year, the group had kind of grown, started to grow. And we started off with just 5 kids in my office. We played a game that I made up because they were kids, to kind of help them understand college expenses, called the Scholarship Search Party. And like on my What's Next, we have to trademark that name, because the game is the game changer.
Oh,
It's a short game, but I made it for like an 11-year-old to be able to understand and get it real quick. Boy, and it's hilarious to adults. Whenever we play the game and the adults are watching, it's a comedy show for them, and they get kicks and giggles out of it. But the kids leave like this, like, oh my God, I got to get a scholarship. I got to get out my house. So they are here when they finish that game. But the pandemic, we couldn't play it in person, that kind of thing. So we're trying to get a trademark. We're looking for someone to help us create a mobile game app version of the live game so that the kids can play it. Because we saw that the kids who played that game are like that. They're easy to direct. They're easy to get to do their stuff. And the kids who haven't played the game are still kind of at that beginning stage of change, right? The first stage of change, they're still pre-contemplative. And so they're not ready to make the change of mindset. But the game helps them like turn the lights on and the lights stay on, right? Well, Tamia, 10th, 11th grade or so, my husband's like, she's going to have to get like all her money for people to believe, because at that point I had figured out most of the formula for kids to get scholarships, whether they were valedictorian or not. I had just been working on it constantly, and I had figured out a lot of the pieces. It's always been, anybody ask me a question, I tell you for free, because one of the things we saw was that part of the problem was the market, that scholarship services had become a market, and people had begun, taking advantage a little bit of parents and students, and we're not actually sharing strategies. And the only reason we found that out was because the first thought I had was, well, the most efficient thing to do, I have coins in my pocket that I will pay someone well to help her get these scholarships. Well, when I was trying it out, I'm like, well, the first thing you have to do is sign saying that you understand that I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I just figured it out. I kept meeting with the kids, because that forces me to learn. True story. I kept meeting with the kids. We meet weekly. It forced me to keep looking for things weekly. And now we have a lot of strategies. My daughter went from a 9 on her ACT to a 29 on her ACT in 3 months. In 3 months. We had a student who lost his $250,000 scholarship because of a medical issue, because he was going to the Naval Academy. And I helped, we sat down. I said, okay, first we're going to stop panicking. Next, we're going to pray. And the third, we're going to get to work. And we got him back in. He got a full ride from another school. We had a student come to us in March of her senior year. It had $0 and 0 cents. Anxious and panicking about it. And I was like, just stop panicking, and we're going to work it out. We worked it out in late April, early May. I got a text message from her. Miss Monique, I got all but $1,071. And I said, all right. And then we ran her story in the newspaper. She had around the money. Her name's Hope Hogan. We were able to help student after student after student because the strategies work. So now I just met with someone yesterday about what equipment do we need for a podcast, because there's so much information and it just needs to be in one space. And my daughter and I, just to be known, I know this is going to be published, but I'm just transparent. We are tired of answering the same question over and over.
Well, you know the rule of thumb. My first book came from a similar experience, and the rule of thumb is once someone kind of asks you the same question 3 times, then you put it in a book. So as you were sitting here talking about this experience, I was just thinking of how many families that just don't have this kind of access and don't have this kind of resource, and the difference it could make. And how does this get to the masses?
The masses. The first thing we took was the Facebook group. The first thing we did was say, okay, we were meeting with parents by conference call, and we were meeting with them in person. And it was just like, so everything I just said, I hope y'all wrote that down. Of course, people weren't taking that many notes, right? And I said, okay, you know what? We'll just create a Facebook group, and that way we can kind of keep information going there. And now we're at this point, like, we need a podcast minimally, because I have resisted actually creating something that they have to pay for. But a podcast, you guys can, still access the information free, because what I've seen is that it is a real freedom. My husband jokingly calls me Harriet Tubman for the kids. I'm like, well, because think about this. You graduate from high school, and then you now get strategies to learn how to go to college at no cost to you. And you finish your college degree free and clear. That's freedom. That's real freedom. That's real freedom. That is real freedom. And Tamia, with her shaping it for her, helped me to think about kids who she did not graduate top 10% of her class. She got 10.5 million in scholarship offers. Tamia is at Howard University.
Wow.
Right. At Howard University. And I was on the dean's list. And literally just yesterday got some more scholarship money. 2 weeks ago, some scholarship reached out to her. And they said, bold.org, if y'all familiar with bold.org, sent her a message and said, well, the donor wants you to apply for their scholarship. And they said, and let's be clear, nobody ever does this. They never, but they saw your profile and they want you to apply for the scholarship. So you got it. But that's what we learned along the way, is that there's a way to create a scholarship resume for a student that helps the scholarship find you. And there are things in that scholarship resume that you can start putting in as early as kindergarten. And and that you can start getting actual scholarships in the 9th grade. So there's a lot we learn, and there's a lot of, so that's part of what happened, is that the poverty, my research on it, I'm like, actually this poverty line started in kindergarten. Because K through 3, you have to get that reading down. Your reading comprehension has to be down. If you're not reading well by 3rd grade, we got barely 2 years to get that fixed. Because after 3rd grade, the slant comes down this way. So by 5th grade, if that student has picked it up, they've gotten the reading down, they've gotten the comprehension down, they're now back here, but they needed to actually be here, right? Okay, so 5th grade, we've got to get you up so that you're excelling by 7th grade. Because 7th grade, now you are turning the corner into puberty. Your brain is changing.
Absolutely.
Your brain is changing, and you're needing to actually start to perform at a higher academic level to be college ready. All right, so then 9th grade comes, and you never picked up this reading from kindergarten and 3rd grade. You never got that. In 9th grade, we are now struggling, and you're thinking about, I don't even know if I want to finish school. I'm so done with school. Your attitude is bad. Your grades are going down. And then you wake up in the 10th or 11th grade and decide, I want to go to college. but your grades are really, really low. And now you think you can't even afford to go to college. And it's not true. That's what we learned. I'm like, it's not even true. You can go to college even if you have a 2.5 and get scholarships. The United Negro College Fund scholarships, you only need a 2.0 for many of them, or 2.5 for something, right? So what I learned is that I'm like, actually your risk is there from kindergarten. And academically, the public school system has to do its job to reduce your risk. But when it comes to actually paying for college, like you said, parents just need to know what I know, which is you could still have gotten your money with a 2.0 or 2.5. And United Negro College Fund scholarships are available year round. Not just in the spring, not just in the summer, but year round. So people don't know that, therefore they just go get a student loan. Well, you know what? Right about this time of the year, 0% interest student loans are available from private lenders. 0.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. I'm in awe. Look, I'm a parent. I'm an educator. I'm in school, so we're gonna be talking offline. Look.
Yes.
We're gonna have a meeting after the meeting. Yeah, and I think I love the vision and the work of the project, because I do feel like we are just disproportionately, like we're just not like the gap is too wide. And it really hurts my heart as a first generation college graduate, because I know the difference that 4-year undergrad experience set the tone for everything that has happened in my life, professionally, personally, like all of those things. And so we're in this space now where we are seduced by, I'll just go start a business, or I'll just go do this. And so that education isn't valued. And I was just having this conversation with someone the other day, because going to college, like for me, the point isn't to go get a job. Like that's not like there's so much that happens in that space. That's where you learn to begin to advocate for yourself, independence, and you connect with other like and bright minds, and like you start to see the world past the little town that you were raised in, or past the high school experience that you're at. And so it really, it really pains me sometimes to hear people that they don't really value that, or that make the comments, oh, I'm going to go have to get a loan to get a an education to get a job. And it's just it's a much more dynamic process than just going to get a job. There's so many things that happen along the way, and it's designed, I think, for you to thrive in those college settings, in those early formative years. I've known people that have gone back to school at 40 and 50 and 60, and they've done great. But ideally, when you think about coming out of high school, 18, no children, never been married, no debt, no responsibility, like you're in a perfect space to take on that experience.
Right, but you don't know that. You don't know that.
You don't know that.
You don't know that. But now they will. Now they will, because they're going to watch your thing. Now they will. Now they will, because they're going to watch this. But you know what else it helps them to do? It helps them to have more power. Yes. More power to give back. More power to, like, if I decide I want to open a business, because I've been through this experience of not paying for school, which means I've gotten accustomed to somebody telling me no. You've applied to scholarships and somebody's told you no, and you said, okay, you've gone on to the next scholarship. And you now believe crazily that you shouldn't pay for everything. Yeah. You believe this crazily, that I shouldn't pay for everything, that some kind of way things should be available to me that somebody says are not available to me. And you believe that somebody out there can do this. You just believe impossible things, and that helps you. All this stuff helps you. So that first step, that's what we figured out. This is so many years ago. I'm like, if somebody could figure out a way for an average student to go to school without paying. So that's how we ended up. My friend Diane helped me name it the Zero Debt College Project. She's like, this is not even about your scholars or your students who can afford to pay. This is about the mindset that happens when a student starts to get a scholarship, and how they feel more powerful about changing their future and what they learn. Even community college, this is a common thing. Well, you could just go to community college. Don't pay for that either. Do not pay for community college. Do not pay for beauty school. Do not pay for anything. Figure out a way. Tamia didn't pay for her dual credit classes.
Wow.
You got scholarships for that too, right? And I looked and my tax guy, he's one of my cheerleaders. He actually set up our 501c3. That paid a deep compliment to me because he is a money man, right? And that paid a deep compliment to me that he was willing to help us set it up. Well, the deeper compliment, his daughter came to one of our events. And last year when I went to go do my test, I'm like, I never heard from her again. You know, how did she do? He said she did everything you told her to do and she got all her money.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like, can I vote for you? Because we live in like near neighborhood. I was like, no, but that meant so much to me that somebody that I trust with my money trusted me with their child about their money. Yes. So that's part of what happens when you discover something. And this is my belief about the Zero Debt College Project. When you are helping someone from your heart, which mine is from the heart, but it's a bigger strategy. Mm-hmm. It's a bigger strategy. I want you to imagine the impact of a generation of students.
Absolutely.
That look like me and you. Where my mother could never have afforded to pay. I don't care if it was community college. My parents are factory workers. They weren't going to be able to pay for college, no matter how smart I was, right? And then even if you talk about a family with an elevated income, college can easily cost you, we're talking about $250,000, $500,000 easily. Yes. So even if you have means, we're talking about a struggle, right? And we're talking about if you pay for it, where would that student, like the inner character you're talking about, how would they develop that inner character, that go-getter? Wow. Well, taking this route helps them to feel like there's something I actively did to affect change in my own life. And I can turn around and pass that on. And that's the only expectation I have for our students. They all know the Zero Debt College Project is free, but they all know I expect you to pay this forward, backwards, and in a big circle. I expect everybody you can touch to get this. And a parent, actually, our mayor, hopefully we have our first African-American mayor in Little Elm. And his youngest son is in our program. I got a text from his mother the other day. She said, I just called to tell you thank you. She overheard her son on the phone with his friends telling them, y'all need to apply for these scholarships. And telling them how easy it is to do and that you have grades for this. I was like, that blessed my heart for this young man who I'm like, here's some scholarship leads for him to take those scholarship leads, reach out to his friends and tell them you need to do this and this can be done. You realize how powerful that is? Wow. How powerful that is. Yes. Wow. So that's what I'm about. And Nick, my husband, Big Daddy Wonderfulness Young Company, he calls it my brand. I'm like, well, I don't know what we call this, but I know for sure that having integrity in what I do and not selling people wolf tickets about their children, right? Not telling you to come here so I can tell you about the scholarships and then it's a bait and switch where you come to this free workshop and then next thing is, well, you sign up for this program. I don't even allow those posts in the Zero Debt College Project Facebook group because what we're sharing is strategy. Anybody can give you a list of scholarships. What you need is strategy. And you know, I come from the Black people family where we play spades for real. Don't nobody want to play spades with you. If all you know is the game of spades, we need you to know strategy. We need you to know strategy. And the scholarships that's how we approach it. You need strategy. The summer before senior year, that's when you apply. That's when you apply. And in a school system, they always talk to the kids about when senior year gets here. Actually, your best strategy is as soon as those applications open in the summer before senior year, that's when you apply, which means you need your grades together by junior year.
Wow.
Right.
Look, I'm taking notes. My daughter's 11, but I'm taking notes. I'm fixing to get her down here and say, look, do you have something for 5th and 6th grade?
Yes, we have 5th graders. We have 5th graders. And what you want in 5th grade is not just because they're going to academically, they're good, but it's the community service, community service and the leadership. So you doing things like this and kind of offline, we were both talking about bringing our daughters in so they can see, it's leadership and service. So with the younger ones, we work on leadership and service. And you know what happened last year? My 8-year-old raised $1,000 through a virtual lemonade stand for a children's shelter. Her hours doing that earned her the White House Presidential Service Award. We have a 5th grader last year who there's an unincorporated area in Dallas that didn't have water. And she felt like that was a problem, which I feel like is a problem too. But you know what this fifth grader did? She created a YouTube channel and an online giving campaign, and she collected water and cash donations for that area all summer long. The fifth grade. And then she earned her White House Presidential Service Award. There's another fifth grade, and this young lady is in California. This other fifth, because our program is nationwide, and we even have international students in Pakistan. This fifth grade, she's in California. She felt like it was an issue for people not to be able to groom their pets, any kind of pets. And so she decided that she would offer her services to help groom people's pets. And she created a little Instagram page, and that's what she's doing. In fifth grade, they can use this power inside of them to affect change in their community. And it just makes their self-esteem grow. It makes their confidence grow. And so now you have a fifth grade that feels like they can do something to affect change in the world around them, and it makes them feel good. When my baby came out from that shelter, we gave them the check, pictures and pictures. We're walking out, going to the car, and she just all of a sudden stopped and she said, "Mama, I just feel so good." Yeah. And I was like, yes, doesn't that feel
and
good?
I think it's important because it's about service. Leadership is about service. And we're we were talking about this in the green room in a way where society is so fast paced and people are so isolated and so self-absorbed, that we have to actively, have these conversations and create these opportunities, on an ongoing basis with our children. Like, the world is not just about you on TikTok. The world is not just about you, getting together to do what you want to do with your, like, there are other people out there, and we're always having this conversation about the opportunities that you're afforded to, and how are you gonna, how are you gonna pay it forward to someone else? How's it, and I think that it's a great time to start having those conversations. I love that it can even happen in elementary school. Girl, I'm telling you, I'm getting signed up. I'm getting in the group, and I'm bringing the M&Ms, and they're getting busy. Because even the conversation is now. My daughter's in fifth grade. Next year she's going to middle school, and I'm having this conversation with her about, the expectation is that you graduate from high school with an associate's degree. I'm like, that's nothing. That's the standard. That's the standard. Like, you're going to do that. I don't care if you decide to go, become a dancer or a photographer or, something in the arts or whatever. Like, you
have
can
some power in your pocket with that degree. Yes.
You're gonna do whatever you can do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
But there's gonna be some steps that we're gonna, really work to ensure that you take on that road that will ensure, like you said, that you are empowered when you get into that space. Yes. And I'm telling you, I could go on and on, because this is the conversation. This is the difference maker. This kind of knowledge and strategy that you're sharing in this project, and helping and not just helping kids, helping families. Because even as an educator, I don't believe that we teach kids. I believe we work with families. Even when those families aren't highly participatory in the educational process, we're still working with families. And so working with families to break those generational really curses and raise that expectation, and starting to create a legacy of academic scholarship, like that is, guys, this is history making. Like, this is, I'm taking notes. I'm like, okay, and now we do what? And we go, like, most of my experiences in elementary school, like so I don't have a lot of secondary experience when it comes to scholarships and things like that. So just hearing you talk about some of this stuff is like, okay, I need to be on it. Like, now is the time. Now is the time. So I am just so excited about the work that you're doing, and not only to get connected for myself, but to connect others. If you're watching this broadcast and you got kids that are, will be of college age, or nieces or nephews or neighbors, or, people in your community or tribe, connect them with Dr. Thompson. How can people connect with you? Where do they go to learn more about the project?
If they go to drmoniquethompson.com, you'll see the links to everything I do. My link there is an author, my mental health practice, and the link to the Zero Debt College Project. Everything is in that one space. If they're on Facebook, it's a public group. We welcome everyone. We welcome absolutely everyone. I post there often. And as soon as we have the podcast up, y'all subscribe and listen to the podcast. As soon as we can get that up, that's our what's next. So we've grown to 4,000 members in Facebook group from 5 kids in my office. We had 5 kids in my office just a few years ago. Now we have 300 students across the nation and internationally. We have all these parents and people in this group. Oh, yes.
I can think of 10 people that I'm going to be connecting today to the working project who are just right in that vein, who are, we're having these conversations about, college and things like that. And so I cannot wait. And that is really the work. When I was thinking about this network of women and connecting these high achievers, this is like one-on-one. Like this is a textbook example of being able to connect resources and people. And things that I don't know, and I know things that you don't know, and people that who need, they have a piece to my puzzle. And so being able to just, to connect in that way, it is powerful.
Yes.
It is powerful. And so I am just so excited to honor and to celebrate. I did not know who Dr. Monique Thompson was until she was nominated this year, and I went on and started reading and learning about her work and her impact. And maybe you guys know, I don't know of anyone doing any work like this that is at no cost to families. I just don't know that it's out there. And so that alone is just, it leaves me without words. So I'm just so proud to be connected. Keep us posted. We're going to be connected, guys. We're going to be be there Sunday with Dr. Monique and the 5 other unstoppable women that are going to be celebrated.
Yes.
We still have a couple of spaces available. You'll see the website going across the screen, stephaniemara.com. You can go there and grab. We'd love to have you there to just connect in this community of achievers. Like these women this year are incredible. And I love it because everyone's from a different space. Like everyone has a different area of genius and expertise that they're bringing to the group. And I'm just excited, just honored to be the visionary behind the work and, to be the behind the scenes person really pulling all these pieces together. So it's been great. So talk as we close out today. I know the podcast is coming. You talked a little bit about the podcast. Are there other projects that are in the works that people might be
getting our name trademark, the Scholarship Search Party trademark, so that we can get the mobile game app out, the podcast, and for the younger kids, we're hoping that there's a Zero Debt College Project app, just an app for them to be able to use. So one of our board members is kind of helping us to organize that, certain markers that they need to be accomplishing to kind of be on a fairly healthy track for zero debt. So that's one, just for the kids who are enrolled in our program. So Sisters Who Code, we're hoping that they'll be able to help us out, but we also are putting our fingers and feelers out there if anybody's listening. If you can help us create an app for the program, because the kids are a little bit more into using their app to track their progress. We do need something like that. We certify every child who earns enough service hours. We certify them for the White House Presidential Service Award. That's one of our strategies, is to help students to get recognized for their efforts. And we also here in Little Elm have been very blessed that our mayor and city council member, Curtis Cornelius, he helps them to get recognized by the mayor every year. The other students who do not quite meet that, we help them to get some kind of leadership experience through our program. And so they need to track their leadership things. There's so much that students can do besides having to be the valedictorian of their class to get scholarships. And even sometimes your valedictorian doesn't get all their money. We've had that happen. And we've been able to find ways for them to use external scholarships, local dollars, low-hanging fruit to get your scholarships. So we really try to do that. But that app for the Zero Debt College Project students, our mobile app for our game, the Scholarship Search Party, and our podcast. The thing that's probably going to happen the soonest is the podcast. So please, everybody, watch out for that announcement. As soon as we figure out how to get that up and going, then please get in there and subscribe to the podcast for the Zero Debt College Project.
Wow. Well, I'm doing it all. I'm coming to the party. I'm getting out. I'm getting into the group. I need it. This has been just phenomenal. So again, thank you so much for being here today. I've enjoyed
Yes,
our
ma'am.
time together and look forward to finally connecting with you on Sunday at four
Yes.
o'clock. Again, for those of you that have watched and hung with us this evening, thank you so much. Angel's been in the chat. You both are awesome. Thank you, Angel, Angel Hart. Appreciate you being here with us today. Take a moment to share this broadcast. Now, applied knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So take a moment to
Yes.
share this knowledge. Where there are strategies available to help you apply this
Yes.
knowledge coming from Dr.
Yes.
Thompson and the work that she's doing in the project. So, again, have a great evening. I will be
Yes.
back, I believe, on Friday morning, interviewing and talking with another one of the honorees. Leilani Wilson Jones will be with me on Propel on Friday morning, I believe, at 10 o'clock. So, check us out for that. You guys have a great evening. Enjoy your Wednesday, and we'll see you next time.